This is Josh back here from InsideWrestlingTruth, and my guest today is the party animal, Justin Storm. How you doing, man?
No, pretty good, man. Pretty good.
You ready to do this interview?
I've been waiting for it for about 2 weeks now.
Yeah. First question is, what made you want to be a wrestler, and who trained you?
What intentionally made me be a wrestler was about probably 20 some odd years ago when I was around 3. My mom was really big into wrestling because her dad was really big into wrestling. Everybody in my family was really big except for my grandma. She hated everybody that loved it. And my mom's favorite wrestler was the Ultimate Warrior. I don't know why, but it was there. And so she was like, you need to watch this. So I watched it and watched it. Eventually, it caught on to where I was sitting there with everybody else, and then Stone Cold came on, and obviously that's everybody's favorite whenever they first locks. And I had the emotional part of it as a kid. Whenever Undertaker with the crucify him the one time and the show went off on the burning cross, I cried because I was telling my mom that he's gonna die that night. It was awful. Who trained me was actually Cash Flow, and that came about because my uncle is somewhere along the family tree. Cash is in there, so he's more of I want to consider him a really big brother, but he's a cousin by marriage in that route. And my uncle kept telling me about how Cash was a wrestler and he was going here and here and here, but I couldn't get a hold of him for the longest time because he was out traveling with Bull Payne and RJ and stuff like that. So finally I got a hold of him one day, and I was like, hey, I really want to be trained. He told me to come out to his house, and he hit me up with the details, and it all went there.
You got any good stories training with Cash?
There's a lot of really emotional ones because every time I take everything super to heart in this sport because I want everything to be as good as I can make it, because everything he's told me was make everything your own. So everything I look at, I try to put my own twist into it, and I put so much thought in everything. And the more and more I try something new or to make it my own, he'll try to make me do it even more. Add more to this kick, add more to this flip or something like that. You're a small, big guy, do something. And it'd get to the point sometimes where I would try to do one thing specifically, and I just couldn't do it over and over and over, and I would start getting frustrated, and we would just start arguing back and forth all the time, like a family rivalry.
Yeah.
And then I'd always break down, kick something, get pissed off, run out of the ring, and then he'd come back, ease the mood, tell me calm down. We go back, finish it, and then eventually I'd get something down.
How did you come up with your character?
It's a funny story. So, we were sitting in the ring, and we were just all going around. There's 4 of us in class. The original trainees, only 2 of us really made it out. And Cash was going around saying, well, what do you want to do in wrestling? Why are you in wrestling? And what do you want to be in wrestling? And I said, well, I just really want to be myself, which at the time I always went to parties. And I loved drinking. And I just loved being obnoxious and really loud and stupid. And so he was like, okay, so a party gimmick. I was like, I guess, yeah, that could work. We could make it kind of comedy-ish and add some Popeye scenarios with it where if I'm down, I go to do the Hulk Hogan thing and pop some Tic Tacs and make it look like I'm popping ecstasy, and I just flip out and go crazy. And he was really just jumping on the idea, and as soon as he was just adding more and more stupid stuff to it, and he loved it all, so just pinned it on me.
Let's talk about this is actually a question from somebody on Facebook. Being fired and rehired for saying goddamn.
That was a big experience there because I didn't understand it. So I walk in the locker room, and they already tell me I'm working heel. And so I go in there, and the first thing I normally ask is like, all right, what are my limitations? What can I do? What can't I do? And everyone in the room had the same answer of don't say fuck, except for one guy who said, just do what I do. Go out there and say any fucking thing you want. And so I was like, all right, so don't say fuck. Well, I had went to the bathroom, and there was apparently a meeting where the promoter came in and said, hey, nobody say goddamn. And apparently I was in the room at this point, but I was not. So when I go out there, I'm just running around the ring doing the shittiest things I can do. And then I start talking to a certain fan. I said really quietly, like I didn't even scream it at her. I was just like, you're nothing but a goddamn whore. You know that, right? And then I got in the ring. Well, then after I get out of my match, I get pulled straight to the concession stand. And they chew me out for it and tell me that they don't want me back. And they want me to apologize to the fan in the concession booth where there's this giant window just looking in. And so, like, everybody's just, like, looking in there while one of them's yelling at me and the other one's just like, oh, man, just apologize. So I had to apologize to, like, 4 people. And then she was like, oh, no, it's okay. I understand. You're a nice guy. And I'm like, I mean, I try, but it's kind of defeating the purpose of making me a bad guy. So then they, like, told me I wasn't allowed to come back. And then I get a message like 2 days later from the guy that told me he didn't want me back. And he was like inviting me to like 3 different shows. And then after that, like the next day, he told me that they were all booked up. And then was all like, if I bring you in, can you watch your language? I'm like, I don't even want to try this anymore. So I just gave up.
What company was that for?
That was IWX.
Okay. Let's talk about you and SWE.
Okay.
Tell us how you got your start there.
My start in SWE came about from where I started training with Cash, because it was right at the end of APW actually. He wanted me and Eddie Young to come out and watch shows, and so we went to the last 2 of them, where he wrestled Flash Flanagan and Todd Borton, and he just wanted us to get like the kick in to like the business. Finally that went down. He told us that he would start bringing us into these meetings that they were having about how SWE was getting ready to be put together, and we would just start training, and we would be security at that point. So we started as security at the first show, which was in Lebanon Junction with and they actually had the pirate guy from WWE, Paul something, Burchell.
Paul.
Yeah,
Burchell.
that guy. He was there, and that was pretty cool. But I don't think like anybody knew exactly where the location was in LJ, which is why it didn't draw that much. But I mean, from there on, it was a story being built, and then it just got better as in time.
Do you have a favorite match from SWE?
My favorite match in SWE. My favorite match would probably have to be me, and I would have to say when I tagged with Jimmy Valiant against Cash and Billy the P. Because I learned so much that night, and I got to have fun with a guy that trained me, a guy I never thought I would ever meet, and then a really good friend of mine, and it was just fun all around.
Let's talk PWF.
Okay.
How did you get your start there?
PWF, Pro Wrestling Freedom, man. I think how that happened was Cash just wanted to start driving around to shows to check them out.
Yeah.
And at the time, I think it was Jimmy who had some I think it was either booking for him, and then John Bullard was talking to Cash, and they were just telling him where the show was, so he wanted to come out, check it out. and we sat in 2 shows and just watched. On the second show, they just came out and asked Cash if he would just like work. So he did. He just like, I think he worked in like half gear, because he didn't like have everything on him because we were just watching the show. And sooner or later, they just started pulling us and making us security. And then sooner or later, they finally just put me in there, and I debuted against Bob Murdoch.
Okay. Did you have a favorite match at PWF?
I did, actually. It was against Shane Smalls. I think it was my 2nd or 3rd match there, and the only reason that I really, really liked this match was that it flowed so well because we had 5 minutes to put it together, and we really said nothing to each other about it. We just went out there, and we just started calling random moves, and it was fluent, and you know, we had like a chemistry for 2 people that had never met, and it was just really good, and I really, really wanted to like work with him again, and like I could never get around to it.
What led you to leave PWF?
I think I stopped going to PWF whenever they first just stopped having shows.
Okay.
Because they canceled a show, and then they just stopped advertising.
Okay.
And so I just thought they completely had went off the grid. So I didn't know, and I never got like invited back or anything. So I guess that's what took me out.
All right, let's talk EPW. How did you get your start there?
Christian Skyfire, Cage Cutler, and Nick Manowar. I think Reed Bentley was with them too. They all came to a show for SWE, and I think it was their first one or their second one. And they were just, I think it was because they talked to Josiah Kane, and he told them to look for me and Eddie. And they watched both of our matches, and I think I actually like had the honor to work Lennox and Norris that night, which is like anytime I've ever wrestled Lennox, like we've had really good matches because like I just learned so much from the guy. He just shits knowledge like left and right. And so then after the show, Christian Skyfire came up to us, and you know they told us, so hey, you know we want you on the show, and you know try to do whatever you guys can do. So we showed up, and they put us against each other, which is typical everywhere we went. And I mean, from there on out, it was fun and games and whatnot.
You got a favorite match at EPW? Or?
Favorite match at EPW.
I'm not really sure how long you wrestled there, so.
I don't think I went very long.
Okay.
It was, if I had one, it'd probably be the Bill Dundee match.
Okay.
Where I tagged with him against Eddie and Joe Pitton. So, yeah.
What led you to leave EPW? I don't know if you were there when they went under. Or
what was? I think what it was is I had to start working, like a shoot job around their dates, and I couldn't get off for it, so I had to like stop. Well, intentionally I got or not intentionally, but I got fired, and then I went in. And I told him, hey, I can work your next date. And that's when I had Brad. So we came in for a tag match. And then after that, they, like, didn't put us on any more shows. Like, even though they put us into a tag team tournament. But I guess they were, like, slowly going down anyway. Because it was, we were supposed to be on the next show with Brodus Clay and...
Ricky Morton.
Yeah, Ricky Morton. But then, you know, Brodus didn't show up. And it was just Ricky there. And I think somebody else, but I don't really remember. But yeah, it just came down to them going, yeah, you guys can come watch the show, but we don't need you on it. And like after that, it started going into like not booking us there. So
yeah.
I mean, it happens.
You have any heat with them when you left or not?
I don't, because like I honestly don't have much heat with people because, like, I'm too nice of a person to, like, really hate somebody. I mean, I do, but I don't hate, like, really anybody but a couple people. And none of them got on my bad side because they've all been respectable to me. They've all, like, talked to me like I was an actual human being, and they haven't treated me like dog shit. So, like, there's no reason to ever have heat with any of them. I mean, like, I would consider them all part of, with my wrestling family. Like, I mean, there's a lot of them now.
We've talked about it a little bit here so far, but let's talk about you tagging with legends.
Tag with legends. All right, so Bill Dundee and Jimmy Valiant. I think is that work like with them or against them too? Because if it's against them, then we add in Todd Morton with that.
We can do all of them.
Okay. With I guess I'll go in like order. Technically, it was like with Todd Morton first, and like at that I learned quite a bit because there was a little bit of the basics that I never got to get around to, like the little hit and miss basics of like what a Beal is, or like how to go into a certain move and transitions like that are really smooth. And we worked in a match together, and while we were in the ring, he would literally do something to me and then get out of it and do back into it, and he like asked me constantly how much, or like if I was watching him and if I was learning from it. And I was like, oh, he's like giving me a seminar in a match. And at the time I thought that was like awesome, and like I loved it all. And so I ended up learning a lot from Todd. And then with Jimmy Valiant, that went into me just learning how you can give the people less and it values for so much more with them. And I would say that it honestly led to the same thing with like Bill Dundee. Like we did so little in our matches, and it gave people everything that they wanted, because that's what they came to see, was the less value instead of the everything right in their face.
Let's put in your worst injury so far.
Obviously, the shattered collarbone. That was a fun time. It was just a move gone terribly wrong and saved to the best that it could be saved. When I split my head open, had 5 staples, and then originally they told me it was fractured, but it ended up actually just being completely shattered, and it didn't heal the right way because I didn't have surgery as soon as I should have. So they just let it naturally heal. So that sucked.
Who are some guys in the indies right now? It can be from this area or just in the indies in general that you would like to work with.
Guys that I would love to work with. Jason Kincaid is a really good one. I see a lot of stuff with him. I've been on a couple shows with him for PWF. I just really like the way he works. He's like, I've been watching a lot of Beyond Wrestling here lately, and doing that has given me like this outlook of how many people work so differently, and like whether it's gimmicks or their work wise, how a super kick can be different in like 15 different ways. And Kincaid like really brings like a beauty to everything he does. Along with Kincaid, Bucks Belmar, I think he's in Canada, maybe. He's, the way he works his gimmick, there's just a beauty to that, because there's something about being like raw and disgusting or something like that. Like Nasty Russ does it in like a porn star way, but then Bucks Belmar does it in the way of like, I really don't want to touch that guy, and it's just, he works it into like, wow, this guy is really crazy. I really want to work with Andrew Hunter again, because we only had like 2 matches and they were really early in, and like we've never, like, we talk a lot but it never happens.
Who's the stiffest guy you've been in the ring with?
It's not going to be a guy, but it was Mickey Knuckles.
All right.
First up, in the eardrum because I stepped into it, and I blacked out, rolled over, couldn't hear anything the ref was saying, couldn't hear anything Mickey was saying. Next thing I know, she's behind me, and I take a German. Mickey is easily the stiffest person I've ever had to be in the ring with.
Okay. All right, I do this with everybody. I'm going to name some guys to you.
Okay.
You just give me your thoughts on them. The first one is Shane Mercer.
Shane Mercer. Really weird guy in person. Like, freaks me out and makes me not want to be around him sometimes. In the ring, it's fun to be with him because there's things that you thought you'd never try that you end up trying. And it's not that like he talks you into it. He gives it like this little spin on it where it's like, hey, you know you want to do this. And it's like, oh, God, yeah. And so he just like, he kind of, not forces you, but he like twists you into actually thinking that you want to do it. And you end up doing it anyway.
Lennox Norris.
Great guy. You know, like I said earlier, just shit's knowledge. Anytime you have to talk to Lennox, it's constantly just like opening a new chapter to a book. It's wonderful. You know, he's doing great things in the wrestling business. He's doing great things for the wrestling business. Like, Lennox is just all around a great.
He deserves a break. Cash Flow.
Oh man. After like I said earlier, after it's fun to get in there because you really you know what you're looking forward to. And every time Cash changes in a ring, like you think you've seen it all from Cash and then you don't. Something new comes out of somewhere, and I don't know if it's just, hey, I think I should probably do this right now, or it just he had it planned and he was waiting for the right person to do it on. I saw him do the Eddie Guerrero top rope plancha to the outside of the ring on Reed Bentley, and I was like, what? I've never seen him do that. But whenever it comes down to it, you always want to see, like, to me, in my eyes, it's how much more can I impress him every time I'm in the ring with him. And how much more is he gonna like show me in the business every time he gets in the ring? And that's all it is. It's just, you know, he's the guy I look up to as, you know, my trainer. So whenever I see him wrestle, it's I'm gonna learn something new every time.
Now, how many chops did you say was the limit?
When you get to the 25 mark, you may be good, because that's the time where your chest starts finally going numb. Chest hair helps a lot, because then eventually it may hurt him. I don't know. He probably won't admit it, but it may. I know it hurts me because we went back and forth 23 chops one time in a match, and I know he split me open. I didn't make a mark or a dent on him, but I tried. And after a while, it just eventually gets numb, or it just starts getting to the point to where your feeling goes away, and then it comes right back like it's a brand new chop, and it sucks on that brand new one.
Apollo.
I have never, ever got to work with Apollo in the ring. I've been in 3 feds with Apollo, and I've never got to work with him. The best thing I can say about Apollo, like, there's nothing that he can do to make me think that he is at all a bad person. Or, like, I mean, like, if ever I need a good sit-down talk, I'll choose a vet that's in a room, and I've went to Apollo a couple of times to just ask questions, to just have direct answers, because he won't bullshit, and he won't get like rambunctious about it, but he'll give it to you how he needs to tell you.
Andrew Hunter.
Andrew Hunter is a kid that takes a lot of risks. That scares me. It's every time I see him in a match, I'm like, he's going to do something else and probably not walk out of this match just like he did the last 3 matches. But you know it's going to be a good match now because he works his ass off. And he really does. Like, you can't take anything away from him because he's come a long way now. Like, he's been working around everywhere. And everywhere he goes, I mean, he's over. You can't deny it. It's people like him regardless where you're supposed to hate him, where you're supposed to love him. It's there. And I mean, you can't take away from the talent that he has.
Nick Depp.
Nick Depp is yeah, he's good and he's getting better. He's where he needs to be right now. Because I think his main goal from where he started in WWE, I honestly think he wanted to be an IWA guy. And where he is now, he is doing great things with his career. And I mean, he's a good bad guy. Like,
yeah,
I can't stand him as a good guy because I'd rather see him as a bad guy. And it's just he's got good work in him.
Billy the P.
Billy the P is a fantastic manager.
Yeah, he is.
He was with me on my debut in CCW, and we had so much fun on the trip up there and on the trip back. And he's another one of those guys to where, like, if like Apollo's not around or something like that, I will go to Billy. I have messaged Billy, and I've just tried to find like answers. Like, if ever I'm lost, I have to find my way back into wrestling. And Billy's one of those guys that I will truly, honestly go to a lot of the time.
RJ.
He's not what you expect inside and outside of the ring. Like, he does random off the wall stuff in the ring, and you don't ever want to know what's coming next because it could be just the stupidest things coming out of his mouth. Like, he's like, I'm gonna tongue punch your mom in the fart box or some shit out of nowhere. And he just like I think he tries to break your character more because he's so serious in there, but he wants to not be serious at the same time and like kill all your seriousness. And outside he's the same way. He's just all around.
And the last one is Jimmy Felcher.
Jimmy Felcher. The first time I met Jimmy, I think I did like 4 or 5 Mountain Dew runs for him at PWF. And I thought, man, this is my life in wrestling now. I'm just going to be like this. And I figured as though, like, after that being like my second Fed, I looked up to it as like, you know, these are what most places are like. And, you know, Jimmy was like everywhere at the time, like, you know, booking for fair shows that I've been on. Jimmy was booking for them. I can't remember the names for them. You know, CCW and PWF, and it's really like the more and more I'm around Jimmy, the more I feel as though it's getting better for like me and him, and like he's in my wrestling family because I've learned from him, and I don't get to talk to him as much except for like the once a month in CCW and whenever we like randomly meet. But like I feel as though we're getting close enough to where, you know, I can rely on, hey, if I really need you, I can talk to you. It's getting there.
Okay, let's talk about friends and enemies in the business.
Friends and enemies in the business. Anything specific about that, or how are we going with that one?
Like, who are your real friends in the business?
Who are my real friends?
And who are like some enemies you have?
Well, as I said earlier, I don't really have like enemies in the business. I have one, but he's really not specifically in the business anymore. And as one of my friends in the business, Andrew Hunter, has said, he has retired more in his 3 years of wrestling than Terry Funk has in his entire career. That'd be Eddie Young.
Eddie Young.
Yeah, and it comes to the point of where we were bros in the beginning because, we started training together and we did everything, with each other. Like everywhere we went with each other, and that's where we made all of our big break-ins and other places. And then it just cut to, he started abandoning the class. He was bullshitting around SWE. He would make a mockery of it, walk around like he had this big ego that he was the best talent in wrestling. And it's I'm not gonna throw myself in there and go, yeah, well, I'm better than him, because we've been in the same amount of time, and he's probably been to a couple more places than I have. But it comes to the point of you have to know where you actually stand instead of where you put yourself.
Right.
And he put himself way higher on the food chain than he should have been, and that's I think what killed his likability with a lot of the wrestling friends.
What has been your favorite match overall in your career so far?
Favorite match overall? It's a really tough one. I would say it was an angled match with Hardcore Douglas. It was a career versus career match,
Right.
Leaves SWE. The reason being is not because of the match wise, the work wise of it. It was me working with a guy who was leading me in good directions, and who was giving me decent ideas and helping me learn more in the business. And we worked a really good storyline together in SWE. And when we got to that match, I don't necessarily think it should have been a loser leaves SWE match or anything, because we could have probably got a lot more out of it. But the way that the match went, it felt like it was leading a really good story into it, and that's the only reason I would probably choose that match.
What about worst match?
Worst match, Aiden Blackheart at PWF.
Sorry.
It was 2 minutes. 2 minutes of walking around the ring, punching Aiden, and then the reason I think it's my worst match is whenever we finally got to where we would work, I was laying down on the ground because he scoop slammed me, which was all right, and then he went for a senton, but he came the long way, so his ass hit my head, and my head bounced off the ground, and all of his body weight landed on my stomach, and farted really loud, and it was awful. And I was like, man, we gotta end this match. I have to go check myself. And so then we rolled up, 1, 2, 3, go home. It was that's the only reason. I will never forget it, but it was God, no, that sucked.
What do you love and hate the most about the wrestling business?
I actually had a discussion with Isaiah, Shank, and Mickey about this.
because I went to all three of them differently to like find out their opinions. And it is what I love about the business is if you need something, there's always someone there to help you, like guide your way. And you know, there's never like a loss of knowledge. Everywhere you go, you will learn something. You're never going to stop learning anything in this business. But what I don't like about it is where you see how wrestling has evolved, and where it used to be Memphis spot into like old school Memphis wrestling to like, or like the circus wrestling into Memphis wrestling into like WCW era and WWF stuff,
Yeah.
into now what it is, which I think it's like indie-rific is how I would describe it. It's how do you get to where a finisher used to mean so much, because once you hit one thing, then that person's done. But then matches that are after you, they would hit things 10 times more impactful. Guys that are like 4 times bigger than the person that just went on before. Guys who were smaller, and then you're going back and forth of, well, I was put down by like a body slam. Well, that person took a body slam through chairs, kicked out. Guy like was thrown over the top rope, hit the floor, power bombed onto the guardrail, kicked out. Ladder in his head, or ladder doing like, you know, jumping off the balcony, kicked out. And you add more and more, and then as the matches go on, it progressively gets more and more intense. Like, you know, how is the next match going to up what just happened? How is that match going to up that? And it's on every show, and the more it progresses to more and more power moves. And it's like, how can somebody just keep kicking out of stuff like that? And to me, it makes everyone who went on every match before there look 10 times weaker than everybody else. And you know, that's what I was asking, because you know, where back in the day, you know, Jake the Snake had a DDT as his finish. You know, everybody uses a DDT. The difference is nobody kicked out of Jake the Snake's. But you can do like 30 different variations of a DDT in the ring, and somebody's going to kick out of it. But it was never Jake the Snake's. So, like, your bigger guys have that one move that's always going to identify them as what's going to put somebody away. And then all the little guys are taking their own variations of that move and doing multiples of them. Like, super kicks are now, like, everywhere in a match. Like, you could see 5 or 6, maybe even 12 of them in one match before you hit the end of it. And Shawn Michaels, it took maybe 1, 2, 3.
Talk about winning the SW title.
I don't remember that day. Specifically, I don't know why I don't remember that day. But I know it was a really emotional day. That was the first day that I decided it was a great idea to cut glow sticks up and like just throw them everywhere, which is probably not a good idea. But I still do it. I don't know why. I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
But I feel as though I did something to where I hit my head, but I don't remember going out for that match. I don't remember wrestling that match. I don't remember winning that match.
Okay.
I remember being driven home for some reason, and then being told that I won, and then waking up at not remembering anything, and then on Facebook I was just like, there was pictures everywhere of me with the belt, and like I was asking everybody what had happened, but obviously my emotions knew what was going on, because you know, after I won, I cried. I did the whole, well, people believe in me and stuff like that. It wasn't like that I won or like I was barking out for a belt. It was, to me, whenever I look into it as what everybody else says in all the other interviews of like WWF guys like Austin, Rock, people like that, and they say, you know, when you get the belt, that means that they believe in you and you can carry the company or something like that. Well, that's what it meant to me at that point, because it's not, oh my God, I got the belt, you know, because, you know, we all know that just happens. But it came down to me going, they actually believe in me now. So that was my next step.
What are some other companies you would like to work for around here? But like Kentucky.
right here. I think I've hit up most of everything I could in Kentucky, and hit up quite a bit in Indiana. I'm going to Florida in 2 weeks, and I'm going to try to get on some shows down there while I'm there, and hopefully that works out. I want to work in Tennessee. I just got to talk to the right people, and I've been trying to travel around. I really want to work in Philadelphia, I think, or for CZW.
Yeah.
I really want to try that out. I mean, OVW, I guess, but I don't want to have to pay a training fee to do that. D1W wouldn't be a bad place to work in, because I know a lot of people have come and gone from there. So that'd be probably a next step is D1, and then work my way into other states.
What about IWA?
The only thing with IWA is I don't think that's where I want to be.
Okay.
It's not like I have the thought process of I want to be in. I don't want to be in IWA because I don't want to bleed or anything, because that's not the goal. I don't think I'm ready for that kind of environment, because that's the way I identify IWA is kind of like it's a place where you go if you've already got the talent. They're an independent wrestling fed that is full of talent, and to be there you have to already have it, and I don't think I'm at that level yet. And even if I did a tryout show, it's not whether fans would like me or anything. It's, do I want to fit in there, or will I fit in there, or am I really good enough to be there? But the roster has enough people that can carry that fed to where it is, that it's something that I'm not ready for yet.
What's your thoughts on death matches and hardcore wrestling?
I love it. Madman Pondo was actually a really big guy that I was into in high school. Him and I think it was Sick Nick Mondo,
Yeah.
and I would watch their matches and some Necro Butcher and stuff like that, all through high school, because I was really into that stuff. And I love it because it's not like it's a normal wrestling match. There's a certain art to it that can still be thrown into the storyline of a wrestling match. And still haven't had my match with Pondo. Really do. And I'm hoping that he is actually my first death match or some hardcore match like that. And that's what I really want to I want to keep it for, is that's where I want it at.
All right, we're going to talk about some pretty big companies. Just give me your thoughts on them. The first one is Global Force Wrestling.
I honestly don't know a lot about Global Force. I'm more in I've watched a little bit of not any of them. Honestly.
That's cool.
So I'm nowhere knowledgeable about Global Force.
Right. What about Ring of Honor?
I watched them. I really like the product that they produce. Obviously they've made really good superstars go in all the directions. You have Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, Chris Hero made it in WWE. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, I think Samoa Joe was there, right?
Yeah.
And he was in TNA. All the talent that was ever in ROH has went to a major company. So they're, if it's you're wanting to go somewhere, your step is ROH.
NXT.
fantastic product.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to be a wrestling fan, you want to watch like NXT because like even their women's matches are really good. They're put together well. They just like they took all the guys that people watched in ROH and New Japan and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, like all over the world, and they put them there, and it's literally like every indie fan's dream is NXT right now.
TNA.
Bad? Can I just leave it there?
Yeah.
Bad? It's not watchable anymore. 2004 was its peak. They went into 2006 when I think that's when they got Kurt Angle and Booker T, and like that was all right. Whenever they had like the main event Mafia and stuff, and then they just started like overdoing it. Like the Aces and Eights thing had like I think 12 members in it at one point. Like, are you trying to recreate the whole NWO?
Yeah, they had too many stables there.
It's not working like that. Like whenever you make a Fed full of nothing but stables, it's not gonna work because then you know there's too much going on. There's not enough people that have individuality to them.
The last one, of course, is the WWE.
It gets me because that's the show I preferred over WCW back then when it was WWF and ECW. It was always WWF. Mainly I didn't watch ECW because my mom wouldn't let me because I was a kid.
Yeah.
By the time I was old enough to like watch whatever I wanted, ECW was already off the air. But WWE is in. It seems like it's in this like predicament where they want to do what they feel is right, but it's really hard for them to make sense anymore. Because back in 2001, 2002, their roster was literally you could pick one of like 30 guys and they could all be main event carders.
Yeah.
Now you have like 1 in 3. And it's really hard to like build a guy up there to like put him there, especially from like how much of a monster you've made Brock Lesnar. And I mean, if you're trying to like build it as to anybody who is better than John Cena can just face Lesnar and beat him like they could do with Reigns, it just doesn't seem like it's gonna work.
All right, this next question, it comes from Facebook. I don't know if it's an inside deal or what, but this comes from Bradzilla.
Okay.
And it says, "Where's my pizza, bro?"
Oh man. I'll have to order it and take it to him.
Yeah.
That's silly. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess I would have to just pick a day and order it and have it delivered to his house and then make him pay it.
Yeah, right. What's your thoughts on working for the AWA and the UWA?
UWA, I really like it. To me, it's a place to hone craft, to hang out with people that I grew up in the business with. Because a lot of them I had known before I even got in the wrestling business. And that's what makes me feel more at home there. Because I walk in and literally every face that's in there, you know, I have seen. And it's no strangers hardly at all. So you're comfortable in the environment that you're in there. It's like that's really what it is. It's you have the homey feeling. It's kind of like what SWE was, and it's just it makes you feel better. AWA, I've only worked for them once, and I have like a hit and miss vibe about it. I don't know. I'm not really good on like first impressions and stuff like that at Feds. Like I have to hit them a couple times before I can like sink in. I liked the people there a lot. They were all really nice, super friendly. It was, I mean, crowd was good. I mean, I'd probably go back.
Where do you want to be in the business in 5 years?
At least Ring of Honor. Looking like Shane Mercer.
Yeah.
That one. that one. Yeah. I want to mainly be where I can be looked at not as like a joke character. Where enough people have seen actual matches where I don't like gimmick and actually wrestle, because as far as like what I am like with, you know, the party animal, because, you know, that's my real life. I mean, I used to, you know, drink, party, go everywhere, and, you know, be crazy. So, you know, there's no better way than to just be yourself whenever you're out there. Like, I love acting like a complete idiot in front of people. But I also like to get better and actually be a wrestler. So I want more people to like notice that I'm trying harder to be a wrestler instead of just like notice me as like a character.
Best and worst companies.
That I've worked for? Or,
Yeah.
Let's see. Best company, as of right now, would be SW because of the homie feeling, and that was everybody there. You know, it was my family, and you know, you don't turn on family. It's just it's you don't do it. Worst company. It's really tough. I'd probably say, I mean, I was never really there because my first match I was supposed to be there. I was injured, so I couldn't wrestle because it was in Kentucky. I wouldn't say it's like the worst company ever to work for, but then again, like, they don't run anymore. It'd probably be like SWF, mainly because it's like a lot of it didn't make sense, and it looked like everything was like highly borrowed and highly used. Like, most of the system equipment didn't work. There were issues with matches, and it looked like everything was just rushed together, in all honesty. And it's like, it's nothing against like the guys that were working there. It was just, it didn't present to anybody that this is the place to be.
Favorite road story?
Cash flow going 80 miles an hour trying to go to CCW, going off the exit, not knowing that it was a turn, and almost killed all of us, and I broke his headrest because I grabbed, and he turned so hard, and Billy, I think, shit himself. I think Chris shit himself. Brad probably shit himself. Cash was shitting himself the whole time on the way there, and we just make the turn, and I like hear it kink right out of the chair, and yeah, that was probably the best road trip ever. Was just the first ride to CCW with Cash, Billy, Brad, and Chris. Like, it was so fun. Memories were made. I think I've never almost made Cash do something except for go, hey, you should order like 100 White Castle case. And he almost did it. But he didn't.
Okay, let's talk CCW.
Okay.
How did you get started working there?
I think it was either that Jimmy wanted me to come down or Cash wanted me to go with him. And I was originally supposed to work Eddie, but he got pink eye, I think. and So when I got down there, or up there, down there, down there, yeah, right, yeah, I'm bad with directions. That's why it took me so long to get here. When I got down there, they told me I was gonna work Danny D.
Okay.
And that was really fun because I've never met the guy. It was really cool. The match was fun, and I got to work with Billy the P and Brad. So that's how I got my start there. And then I missed a couple months, and then that's when I got injured, and then I missed even more months, and then I finally came back, and I've been having a lot of fun since.
Yeah. Now you worked with what was its name?
Mariah Monroe.
Yeah.
Yes.
How'd that go for you?
It was different. She was really awesome to talk to. I got there late, mainly because Andrew Hunter's van is awful.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. We might have gotten lost. I don't know. He probably seems a little more directionally challenged than me. I'm not for sure. But I got there maybe 10 minutes before my match. And we did everything on the fly. It was fun. I got to play the character side, and then I got to do a little bit of wrestling. I think the worst part about it was the dick punches afterwards, and then she kissed me, and my girlfriend refused to kiss me for the rest of the night, and yeah, it was bad.
What's some of the regrets that you have so far in your career?
Regrets. I don't really have any.
Okay.
I don't look back on it because at that point you're just like saying I could be here doing this or I could be here doing this. I don't have.
Okay, this is a question that I ask everybody. What is your favorite pro wrestling moment as a fan?
Favorite pro wrestling moment as a fan? That one. Damn, that's actually rough.
Don't feel bad. Nobody can ever answer.
Dude, that's like if it was match pay-per-view or something like that. That's easy. That's very easy. Moment as a wrestler. I was really Chris Jericho winning the Undisputed title, because I'm a big Chris Jericho fan. I would have to say if it's overall, it's Chris Jericho finally getting what he actually deserved.
In closing this interview, first off, I appreciate you coming and doing this interview with me.
Thank you for having me out.
Just tell the people, where you can be seen, where you're going to be working.
Okay. Well, you can see me once a month at CCW, except for next month because I'll be in Florida. Just catch me up on Facebook, find out. I have an Instagram now. I have one of those things. It's awful. Don't get one. I have a Twitter. I'm barely on that. But you can message me. Do that. Just hit me up, and I'll be everywhere eventually.
All right, thanks, man.
No problem.